Pork tenderloin is bland, it's got no fat, it's got no flavor. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to make an awesome, tasty pork tenderloin. Let's just skip to the taste test. Is that like a wow?
I've had pork tenderloin forever. Yeah. It's a wow. Like, I don't think I've ever had pork tenderloin this good.
Okay, the first step is to trim your tenderloins. Most importantly, we want to remove all of the silver skin. And while I'm doing that, let me tell you about the challenges we're up against in making this cut of meat taste really good. First, tenderloin is very lean. Not to be confused with a pork loin, which runs along the back of the pig. The tenderloin is much smaller and runs along the inside of the spine. It doesn't see a lot of work during the animal's life, so it's really tender, but it has no fat, and accordingly, it doesn't have a lot of flavor. So, how do we pack this thing full of flavor so it stands on its own against other barbecued meats like brisket, pork butt, and ribs? Well, we're gonna do two things. First, we're gonna follow the acronym BRBS, or BURBS. That sounds kind of weird, but it stands for brine, rub, butter, and sauce. And second, we're gonna make it super tender and juicy by cooking it to the exact right temperature, which I'll explain later. Step 2, after the trim job is done, I'm placing the tenderloin in a brine solution of 1 cup of kosher salt to 4 gallons of water. It's going to sit in that brine in the fridge for 2 hours. We don't want to let it go too long, otherwise it's going to get too salty. There's a couple reasons why we're brining it. Actually, there's 3 reasons. The first one is it enhances the flavor of the pork. Salt adds a lot of flavor to the pork. The second is that it enhances the pork's ability to retain moisture, so it makes it more juicy. And third, it improves the texture of the tenderloin. So that is a surefire way to pack some more flavor in your pork tenderloin, and that is why we're brining it. Step the third, after 2 hours, the pork comes out of the brine and we soak it in clean water to wash off the extra salt. You can also just run it under the tap to rinse it off if you want to. Then it goes into a bin just to keep things clean, and we're going to apply our rub at this point. That is the R in burbs, which apparently I like saying a lot. The rub that I'm using is Cosmos Q Honey Chipotle Killer Bee. You can really use any type of rub as long as it's heavy on sugar, because sugar just goes really well with pork. But I would recommend going light on the rub if it already has salt in it, because we're already getting a lot of salt from that brine, so we don't want to over salt it. Step 4, get your smoker ready to go, whatever that means for you. In my case, I'm using my Oklahoma Joe's offset smoker, so I need to knock that snow off it, dump out the ash bucket and get ash all over myself, light the charcoal with my crazy hot grill gun, and throw some logs on the log warmer to get ready to put some splits on the fire. We're aiming around 250 degrees for this cook, but really you can cook anywhere between 225 to 275. Step 5, I'm opening up the smoker, and just ignore all that hardened dough on my smoker, that's another video. Then I'm placing the pork in the smoker with one of my meter probes to monitor the temperature. This part is super important because we need to make 100% positively, absolutely sure that the pork is going to reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. No less than that, and maybe a little bit more than that, but not too much more than that. And you might say, but Steve, you need to cook pork to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, otherwise you'll get food poisoning. Well, that is not true at all. Recently, the USDA has amended its food guidelines. It used to be that they recommended cooking pork to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, which dries out the pork and it's just super dry and bland at that point. And the new temperature that they recommend is 145 degrees Fahrenheit, a temperature that restaurants have been cooking pork to for ages, and just now we're starting to realize that pork is at its most tender and at its most awesome texture at 145. Here's a little test I did. I cooked a whole tenderloin, I pulled it out of the oven and sliced it when it reached certain internal temperatures. The one on the far right was cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, way too dry. And the next one to the left of it was cooked to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The middle one was cooked to 145 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, as I just mentioned, the USDA recommended temperature. So if you're worried about food safety at all, go with 145 degrees Fahrenheit. It still looks pretty good. But I prefer the one just to the left of the middle one, which was cooked to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. You can see how it's visibly more juicy and moist. That is the ideal slice for me personally. I'm cooking low and slow, so my pork is getting within the bacteria killing zone of around 137 degrees to 140 degrees for a long period of time. And the thing that kills bacteria is not just temperature, it's also time. That, coupled with pork being in general just much safer these days, is the reason that I'm comfortable cooking it to 140. But you can make your own choice, and if you're worried, cook it to 145 like the USDA says. And lastly, the one on the far left is 135 degrees Fahrenheit, which a lot of people like, and they eat it and they don't get sick, but it's just a little bit too rare for my taste and a little bit too close to the danger zone for food safety issues. Step 6, once I've ensured all parts of the tenderloin are at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or above, I take it off and I rest it on the counter for 15 minutes while I prep the next step. And just so you guys know, it took about an hour and a half to 2 hours on my Oklahoma Joe's at 250 degrees Fahrenheit to get that pork all the way cooked through to 140 to the point where I temped it and it was consistently 140 throughout and I was able to pull it. So budget for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Step 6, this is the second B in BURBS and it stands for butter. I'm heating a heavy bottom pan on the stove with a little bit of canola oil so it's really hot. Then I sear both of the pork tenderloins for 30 seconds on each side. I'm just getting a nice crust, nice Maillard reaction. And finally, I add in about a quarter stick of butter so it all melts, and I'm basically frying the tenderloins in the butter while spooning it all over the top to ensure it gets evenly coated. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, like I was saying, fry it in the butter. This is going to add a ton of flavor because that is flavor. Step 7 is the S in BURBS. It stands for sauce. Remove the tenderloins from the pan, dump the butter out, and then add half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This will deglaze the pan, and as you scrape that charred pork off the bottom of the pan, it's called the frond, it'll create what's called a pan sauce. Hold on 1 sec. Okay, now add a half a cup of your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm using Blues Hog Original, and then mix it on low until it's really runny, but it's still a little bit sticky and it has some thickness to it. If it's too thick, add more water. And if you want more sauce, just double the ratio of everything that I just told you. Step 8, cover your tenderloin in sauce and brush it on to ensure an even coat. Then slice it into thin slices. After it's sliced, pour on more sauce over the top and get ready to serve it up hot.
Oh yeah, real good.
That is really tasty. Is that like a wow?
I've had pork tenderloin forever. Yeah, it's a wow. Like, I don't think I've ever had pork tenderloin this good.
So like when you usually have pork tenderloin, is it like, is it kind of lacking flavor or what do you?
Probably that and dry.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually cooking it, so.
So you'd eat this again? If I made this again? It's good to know. That's really good.
It's like the skin, like or the, like the, whatever you did to the outside.
It's the bark from the smoker.
So good.
Thank you to my Patreon community for recommending that I do this tenderloin video. With meat getting really expensive these days, I'm really enjoying doing some sort of less expensive cuts of meat and making them really wow-worthy to my wife and my family. So that's been a lot of fun. If you guys are interested in joining my little Patreon community, it's a really cool barbecue community with a lot of great people, and we're all committed to learning barbecue together. You can check out the link is in my description section below, and I'll see you there. We got a nice chat server that we can talk in real time, and you can get live access to me and I can answer all your questions. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Happy smoking, and I'll see you in the next video.